Hey guys, tonight we're slipping into a bedtime history that'll linger in your thoughts as you drift off the full, controversial saga of the atomic bombs and the US attack on Japan. Picture this. In a split second on August 6, 1945, a blinding flash erases 70,000 souls from Hiroshima, leaving behind eerie shadows burned into walls like ghostly echoes of everyday people caught mid-stride. Shocking, right? But get this absurd tidbit: one survivor, Tsutomu Yamaguchi, cheated death not once but twice, enduring both blasts and living to 93 as if fate itself was playing a cruel joke on humanity's resilience. What if that fateful drop wasn't just war's brutal endgame, but a moral quagmire we're still untangling? Like, did it save millions from invasion horrors, or was it an unforgivable overreach that haunts ethics to this day? And here's the twist that'll tease your curiosity into the night it all ignited from Einstein's offhand vacation letter, penned amid Long Island breezes, warning Roosevelt of a power that could split atoms and souls alike. Questions like these keep history alive at bedtime. Do you see the bombs as a necessary evil to crush fascism? Or a Pandora's box we regret opening? Share your take in the comments. I'm dying to hear if you lean toward mercy or might. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. I love seeing how far this sleepy little time machine reaches. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stir awake in the gentle haze of dawn, the thin futon beneath you cradling your body like an old friend, its straw feeling slightly prickly against your skin through the worn cotton sheet. It's that quiet hour in Hiroshima. August 6th, 1945, where the world feels suspended in a fragile peace, the kind that whispers of normalcy amid the distant rumble of war. You roll over, inhaling the faint, earthy aroma of tatami mats mingled with the subtle bitterness of last night's green tea leaves lingering in the air. Outside your modest wooden home, the Otter River murmurs softly, its cool mist drifting in through the open shoji screens, carrying a fresh, watery scent that cools the humid summer warmth clinging to your pajamas. You sit up, rubbing sleep from your eyes, and pad across the floor, the smooth wood creaking faintly underfoot. A familiar texture that grounds you in the rhythm of daily life. Birds chirp sporadically, their calls piercing the stillness like tentative notes in a symphony about to shatter. But there's a nagging discomfort in your gut. Isn't there a subtle unease, like the low vibration of cicadas building to a crescendo, reminding you that the war's shadows stretch even here, in this riverside haven? You pour water into a small kettle, the liquid splashing with a soothing gurgle, and set it over the hibachi stove. As it heats, steam rises in lazy curls, filling the room with a clean, metallic tang that mixes oddly with the faint smokiness from distant factories' remnants of Japan's wartime grind. You glance out the window, where sunlight glints off the river like scattered shards of glass, boats bobbing gently as fishermen cast their lines, their silhouettes dark against the shimmering water. Children's laughter echoes from nearby, a group skipping stones along the bank, the plinks and splashes creating ripples that spread outward, mirroring the unseen waves of history converging on this moment. Yet, irony tugs at you. How absurd that this serene scene, named Hiroshima for its wide islands of tranquility, is about to become the epicenter of unimaginable fury. You sip your freshly brewed tea, the hot liquid scalding your tongue just enough to jolt you, its grassy bitterness a sharp contrast to the sweetness of the morning air. Discomfort creeps in deeper now, a prickling sensation on your skin, as if the atmosphere itself is charged with static before a storm. Far from your quiet routine, the seeds of this cataclysm were sown in the unlikeliest soil, a sun-drenched vacation home on Long Island, where Albert Einstein, with his tousled hair and pipe in hand, scribbled a letter that would echo through eternity. You imagine it, don't you, Einstein, lounging in a wicker chair, the salty sea breeze ruffling his papers, casually drafting words to President Roosevelt about German fission breakthroughs. Picture the irony. You think with a wry internal chuckle, a genius on holiday, sipping lemonade, perhaps, unleashing a chain reaction that makes the sun's fire look tame. It's almost comical in its absurdity, a beachside brainstorm birthing bombs capable of 10 million times a chemical explosion's fury. But the discomfort twists sharper here. Empathy wells up for the man whose noble intent to thwart Nazis spiraled into global dread. Debate simmers in your mind: was this preemptive genius justified? A shield against Hitler's potential atomic arsenal, or a hasty plunge into ethical abyss, trading one tyranny for another? Parallel it to today's tech titans racing to quantum computing meant to solve crises, but risking unintended doomsdays that keep us up at night, pondering our own creation's shadows. You step outside, the wooden getter clogs clicking against the path, their elevated soles lifting you slightly above the dusty ground. The texture of the strap digs into your feet, a minor irritation amid the growing unease. Neighbours nod in passing, their faces etched with wartime weariness, ration books tucked under arms as they head to the market. The air thickens with the scent of fresh fish and pickled radishes from stalls ahead. Vendors' calls blending into a rhythmic hum that almost drowns out the distant drone of planes routine now, but carrying an ominous weight today. Visuals sharpen, sunbeams dance on the river like fleeting hopes. Children's stones skipping across the surface in playful arcs, while across the water, the Ayoi Bridge arches like a silent sentinel. But recurring motifs stir the faint outline of a cloud on the horizon. Not yet the mushroom monster, but a harbinger fading into lanterns of memory later. Irony bites again. This city of bridges, built for connection, stands on the brink of ultimate severance. You pause by the riverbank, dipping your toes into the cool shallows, the water's silky flow washing over your skin, a brief respite from the humid press. Textures mingle the gritty sand between your toes, the smooth pebbles shifting underfoot. Discomfort lingers, an internal churn like indigestion from unspoken fears. Empathy swelling for your fellow underdog scraping by in scarcity's grip, much like American families during the Depression, clinging to soup lines and shared stories for survival. Yet, sarcasm tempers it. How laughably absurd that a physicist's lazy summer note could ripple across oceans to upend your world, splitting atoms and lives with equal indifference. The debate echoes Einstein's warning saved the free world from fascist nukes. Or did it just shift the horror eastward, a moral overstep we question in hindsight? Modern echoes hit close whistleblowers today leaking AI secrets, intending safeguards but unleashing ethical storms that mirror this atomic dawn. As you wander toward the market, the bustle envelops you, the tangy brine of seafood stalls, the rough weave of burlap sacks bulging with meager rice rations. Vendors haggle in low tones, their hands calloused from endless labour, a texture you feel in a brief handshake exchanging coins. Visuals unfold, colourful lanterns swaying from eaves, foreshadowing peace memorials to come, children darting between legs, their innocent games a stark contrast to the gathering storm. But the plane's hum grows insistent now, a motif like the first puff of that dreaded cloud. Discomfort prickles your neck, irony in how life's little absurdities a siren dismissed as drill. A letter from paradise conspire toward apocalypse. You breathe deeply, the river's mist filling your lungs, reflection whispering that history's cruelties forge resilience. Much like today's battles with unseen threats teach us empathy over enmity. The sun climbs, warming your face with deceptive gentleness, but a chill persists. Discomfort weaving into your thoughts like threads in a tatami mat. You linger by a stall, fingering the smooth porcelain of a tea bowl, its cool surface grounding you amid the irony of fragile beauty in a breakable world. Empathy deepens for yourself, for the city's underdogs whose stories of survival will outlast the blasts. As shadows shorten, you sense the flash approaching, a blinding pivot where absurdity meets horror, teasing the twists ahead in this tale of atomic echoes and human endurance. You turn away from the market stalls, the bustling voices fading behind you as a faint unease settles deeper, like dust kicked up by an unseen wind. But now, the scene shifts. You're no longer in Hiroshima's humid streets. Instead, you find yourself transported across the ocean and into the arid expanse of New Mexico. 1942, where the seeds of that distant hum are taking root. You stand at the edge of Los Alamos, the makeshift lab town rising from the desert like a mirage. Its wooden barracks and barbed wire fences a stark contrast to the vast, unforgiving mesa. Sweat beads on your forehead, the dry heat sucking moisture from your skin, leaving it tight and cracked like parched earth. You wipe your brow with a sleeve already gritty from the fine red dust that clings to everything here, your clothes, your tools, even the air you breathe, carrying a metallic tang that hints at the unnatural work ahead. As one of the underdog scientists pulled into this frenzy like J. Robert Oppenheimer, the brilliant but haunted physicist leading the charge, you feel the weight of the Great Depression still lingering in your bones. Those lean years of scraping by on government grants and half-baked theories now fueling this desperate push. You trudge up the dirt path to the lab, boots crunching on gravel that bites like tiny accusations, the wind howling through the canyons with a low, mocking whistle. Inside, the flickering torchlight well, more like harsh bulbs strung from ceilings, casting long shadows that dance like uneasy spirits, illuminates rows of workbenches cluttered with diagrams and uranium samples. You pick up a chunk of the ore, its cool, heavy texture in your palm glowing faintly under the light, an eerie green hue that whispers of power untamed. Discomfort builds in your chest, a knot tightening with each equation you scribble on the chalkboard, the dust from the eraser clouding the air like a miniature storm foretelling greater chaos. You pause, staring at the formulas, irony hitting you like a sarcastic aside from fate. Here you are, a ragtag group of intellectuals, many fleeing Nazi persecution, now building a weapon to outdo the very monsters you escaped. Take Werner von Braun, the German rocket whiz scooped up in Operation Paperclip. You glance over at him, his face shadowed under the lab's dim glow, debating blueprints with that clipped accent. It's absurd, isn't it? Enemies turned saviors overnight. Their V2 rocket tech, once raining death on London, now repurposed for American might. You feel the empathy swell, a quiet ache for these men, underdogs reinventing themselves amid moral filth, their hands dirtied by past allegiances. What would you do in their shoes, cling to redemption or walk away? It's a question that echoes today's debates, hiring ex-hackers for cybersecurity firms, overlooking their dark web pasts for the greater good, but at what cost to your soul? The wind outside rattles the thin walls, carrying the scent of sagebrush and isolation. A sensory struggle that mirrors your internal turmoil, the dryness chapping your lips, the isolation gnawing at your resolve. You huddle with the team under those wavering lights, piecing together fission puzzles. The click of Geiger counters a rhythmic heartbeat, underscoring the horror of what you're unleashing. Factual history presses in. The Manhattan Project, born from Einstein's warning, swells with a blank check from the government billions poured in, scientists poached from Europe, all in a race against Hitler's rumoured bomb. But debate rages in hushed tones around the water cooler as Paperclip's recruitment a pragmatic necessity. Salvaging brains to beat the Axis, or a filthy compromise. Whitewashing war criminals for tech gains. You rub your temples, the headache from endless calculations blending with ethical fog, empathy deepening for Oppenheimer's growing guilt. He paces nearby, his eyes hollow, reflecting your own discomfort. Visuals sharpen in the lab's haze, uranium rods stacked like forbidden fruit, their subtle hum vibrating through the floor, von Braun's diagrams unfurling like maps to Armageddon, the torchlight bulbs flickering as if protesting the unnatural glow within. Irony sneaks in again. You chuckle inwardly at the tidbit of scientists working 7 days a week, fueled by coffee and classified dreams, while back home, families ration sugar like it's gold. Modern parallels flicker too. It's like AI labs today. Underdogs racing to code superintelligences, debating if their creations will heal or harm, the filth of unchecked ambition staining progress. You lean against the bench, the wood's rough grain pressing into your back, reflection offering a momentary chill. Perhaps this burden forges something greater, a reluctant empathy for the creators caught in history's gears. The desert night falls outside, stars piercing the sky like distant lanterns promising hope amid the gathering storm. You exhale, discomfort easing into weary resolve, the motifs of light and shadow recurring, pulling you toward the ethical abyss ahead. The night deepens around Los Alamos, the stars overhead flickering like distant lanterns in the vast desert sky. But sleep evades you as the lab's hum lingers in your ears. You toss on your cot, the coarse blanket scratching against your skin, the air thick with the lingering scent of solder and ozone from endless experiments. Dawn breaks too soon, pulling you back into the frenzy, and now the focus sharpens on the ultimate trial, the Trinity test, July 16, 1945, where theory meets terrifying reality. You pile into a dusty jeep with the team, the engine rumbling like a growl from the earth itself, kicking up red sand that coats your throat with a gritty, metallic taste. The drive to the test site feels eternal, the mesa stretching out endlessly, sagebrush whipping past in the hot wind that carries a dry, herbal bite mixed with anticipation's sharp edge. You clutch your notepad, fingers smudged with chalk from last night's equations, discomfort gnawing deeper, a prickling dread that this gadget you've helped birth might unravel more than atoms. You arrive at the Jornada del Muerto, the journey of the dead man, an ironic name that hits you like a wry punchline as you step out into the pre-dawn chill. The air turns cooler here, a psychological shiver running down your spine despite the lingering heat in the ground, which radiates up through your boots like a fevered pulse. You huddle in the observation bunker, a concrete tomb buried in the sand, its walls damp and cold against your back, the faint mildew scent clashing with the acrid tang of nervous sweat from the clustered scientists. Oppenheimer paces nearby, his thin frame tense under the dim bulb, light torchlight evolved into harsh fluorescence that cast elongated shadows, motifs of illumination twisting into omens of what's to come. You peer through the periscope, heart pounding in sync with the countdown clock's relentless tick, discomfort blooming into a full-bodied unease. Your palms slick against the metal viewer. The gadget hangs suspended on its tower, a squat, spherical menace wired with cables like veins, glinting faintly in the floodlights that turn the desert night into an artificial day. You feel the psychological chill deepen, empathy stirring for the men who've poured their souls into this underdogs from Depression-era labs, now gods playing with fire. Academic uncertainty hangs heavy. Fission's math seemed solid on paper, but out here, what if the chain reaction doesn't stop, igniting the atmosphere in a global blaze? It's a tidbit whispered in late-night debates, a horror born from equations' blind spots. You swallow hard, the dry air rasping your throat, as the countdown echoes over speakers 10, 9. Your mind races is this hubris, testing the universe's limits like Icarus with a nuclear wing, or necessary daring to end the war's filth. Modern aside creeps in. It's like gamers simulating nuke blasts in virtual worlds today, laughing at pixels while ignoring the real Fallout's lingering scars. 8, 7. The tension coils in your gut, a sensory struggle of clammy hands and shallow breaths. The bunker's confined space amplifying every heartbeat like a drum in your chest. Visuals assault you through the scope. The tower stands solitary against the starry backdrop, cables snaking like serpents. Scientists in goggles hunker down, faces pale masks of focus. The gadget itself, innocuous as an oversized melon, yet pregnant with apocalypse. Empathy wells for Oppenheimer, his eyes hollow with the weight he's the underdog genius, fleeing anti-Semitism only to forge this double-edged sword. You wonder, in that suspended moment, what you'd whisper to him if you could, is this salvation or sin? It's an intriguing question to ponder. As the clock winds down, how far would you go to protect your world, knowing the cost might stain your soul forever? 6, 5. The air vibrates now, a low hum building from the device, syncing with the motifs of light and shadow, torchlight bulbs flickering as if in protest, the desert filth of dust swirling in eddies. Your skin prickles with static, discomfort edging toward raw fear, the psychological chill manifesting as goosebumps despite the bunker's stuffy warmth. Sarcastic commentary bubbles up inwardly. How absurd that this man-made sun, born from refugee brains and taxpayer dollars, could eclipse nature's own. Historical tidbit flashes. The Germans had their own program, but infighting and Hitler's whims stalled it irony in how Allied unity forged the bomb while Axis ego crumbled their efforts. 4, 3, you brace against the bunker wall, the concrete's rough texture grounding you amid the surge of adrenaline, your breath fogging the periscope lens. Emerging empathy tugs harder for the team. Yes, but also for unseen victims, the underdogs halfway around the world whose lives hang on this test's success. Debate rages silently. Necessary to beat Japan, or overkill hubris that poisons progress. Twist hint lingers. If this works, the moral crater might dwarf the physical one. 2, 1, 0. Ignition. The world erupts in silence, first a deceptive pause, then the flash blinds you, a searing white that burns through closed eyelids, turning the bunker into a furnace of light. You flinch, sensory overload slamming in. The roar follows, a thunderous boom that rattles your bones, vibrating through your chest like an earthquake's aftershock. Heat waves pulse even underground, the air thickening with a scorched, ozone-laced stench that chokes your lungs. Mingled with the acrid bite of vaporized metal and earth, you stagger back, ears ringing, discomfort exploding into visceral horror as the ground heaves beneath you. Peering out again, visuals sear into your memory. The mushroom cloud rises monstrously, a towering pillar of fire and smoke coiling upward like a biblical curse, its cap blooming into a filthy umbrella that blots the stars. Debris rains down in the distance, the crater below a gaping wound in the desert, steam hissing from its edges like breath from hell's maw. Scientists erupt in cheers around you, slapping backs and popping cheap wine corks, irony at its peak. A party over this man-made abyss, toasting the dawn of destruction with rot-gut bubbly that tastes like victory's bitter aftertaste. You force a smile, empathy clashing with the sarcasm in your thoughts. We split the atom, but did we fracture our humanity too? The cloud mutates motifs, its glow fading into lantern-like embers against the dawn, a recurring symbol of illumination twisted into warning. As the dust settles, the crater's filth spreads radioactive grit coating everything, a sensory struggle of itchy skin and coughs from inhaled particles. You wander closer with the team, boots sinking into the warm, glassy sand fused by heat, the air still humming with residual energy. Visuals haunt. The tower's remnants twisted like abstract art, scientists' faces lit with awe and regret, the cloud dissipating slowly, revealing a scarred landscape that mirrors inner turmoil. Discomfort deepens into ironic detachment. How laughable that this success feels like a Pyrrhic win. Hubris tested and proven, yet at what unseen cost? Modern aside, it's akin to VR nuke simulations today, where players reset blasts without the real world's lingering radiation, ignoring the ethical fallout that echoes in disarmament debates. You stand at the edge, wind whipping your hair, carrying the charred scent farther, empathy emerging stronger for the underdogs who've midwifed this beast. Oppenheimer mutters, quotes from ancient texts, his voice cracking with the weight. You feel it too, that psychological chill amid the heat, irony underscoring the absurdity, a bomb born from fear of tyrants, now poised to become one itself. What lingering shadows will this cast, you wonder, as the sun rises fully, bathing the sight in harsh light. The motifs persist, the clouds fade, hinting at lanterns of hope. But for now, the filth of creation clings, pulling you toward the moral crater ahead. The afterglow of Trinity fades like a dying ember in the desert sky, but its motifs linger, the mushroom cloud's filthy residue, mutating in your mind into a symbol of deeper despair, a stain on the soul that no wind can scrub clean. You blink, and the scene dissolves, pulling you forward in time to August 1945, onto the sweltering tarmac of Tinian Island in the Pacific, where the next chapter of this atomic nightmare unfolds. You're aboard the Enola Gay now, strapped into the co-pilot seat of this silver B-29 super fortress, the plane's aluminum skin humming under your fingertips like a living beast ready to unleash hell. The cockpit smells of kerosene and oiled metal, a pungent mix that clings to your flight suit, seeping into your pores as the engines idle with a low, throaty growl. You grip the controls, the leather-wrapped yoke slick with your sweat, feeling the subtle vibrations travel up your arms, a sensory prelude to the chaos ahead. Discomfort has evolved here into something sharper, a heightened fear that coils in your gut like a spring, tempered only by the ironic detachment whispering in your ear. How absurd that this flying fortress, named after the pilot's mother, is about to deliver motherhood's worst nightmare. You glance back through the narrow passageway, where the bomb bay looms like a cavernous maw, and there it hangs, a little boy, the uranium gun-type device, suspended by chains that creak faintly with the plane's every shift, its sleek, cylindrical form, painted a dull olive drab, dangles like an oversized pendulum, its weight pressing not just on the aircraft but on your conscience, a psychological chill that makes your skin crawl despite the tropical heat seeping through the fuselage. The air in the bay carries a sterile, chemical whiff, almost antiseptic, mutating the filth motif from Trinity's dusty crater into this pristine harbinger of despair, clean lines hiding the radioactive grime to come. You run a hand over the instrument panel, the dials and switches cool and unyielding under your palm, their faint clicks echoing like accusations in the confined space. Fear ratchets up, your pulse sinking with the propeller's whir, but irony slips in like a sarcastic sidekick. Isn't it hilariously twisted that they named this monster Little Boy, like some innocent plaything from a child's nursery, when it's primed to erase thousands of actual childhoods in a flash? You almost chuckle at the morbidity, a detached defense against the mounting dread. The crew bustles around you, pilot Paul Tibbets at the helm, his face set in grim determination, revisiting that steely resolve you glimpsed in Oppenheimer's eyes back at Los Alamos. You help check the bomb's arming wires, fingers brushing the cold metal casing, a tidbit of absurdity hitting you during training. They practice drops with pumpkin-shaped dummies filled with concrete, harmless gourds mimicking this doomsday fruit talk about a Halloween prank on nuclear. The plane taxis down the runway, the rough coral strip jolting beneath the wheels, sending shudders through your seat that mirror your inner turmoil. As you lift off, the Pacific sprawls below in a zoom-out poetic vista, an endless blue expanse dotted with white caps like scattered lanterns on a vast, indifferent sea, motifs recurring as symbols of fragile hope amid encroaching darkness. The engine roar drowns out conversation, but in the lulls, debate simmers among the crew, Truman's call to drop it saving perhaps 1 million Allied lives from a bloody Japan invasion, or condemning civilians to a fiery war crime that stains America's moral ledger. You ponder it silently, empathy emerging for the decision-makers trapped in their own bunkers. Much like scientists wrestling with fission's fallout, fear heightens as you climb to cruising altitude, the air thinning and cooling, a chill seeping through your heated suit that feels more emotional than physical despair's filth, mutating into the sterile void of high altitude, where clouds below swirl like smoky remnants of Trinity's cloud. You peer out the window, the ocean's texture shifting from rippled silk to a flat, glassy mirror, reflecting the plane like a silver arrow of fate. Sensory immersion intensifies, the constant vibration numbs your legs, the headset crackling with radio static that sounds like ghostly whispers, and the faint, oily taste on your tongue from recycled cabin air. Irony undercuts the tension again. Here you are, hurtling toward history's pivot, munching on a bland sandwich mid-flight, as if this were just another milk run. A modern comparison flickers. It's like drone pilots today, sipping coffee in Nevada trailers while directing strikes halfway around the world, detached from the human cost yet haunted by the pixels of destruction. You shift in your seat, the harness digging into your shoulders, discomfort blending with ironic detachment. We're delivery boys for Armageddon, you think sarcastically. Special package, no signature required, hours stretch, the sun dipping westward, painting the cockpit in golden hues that mock the impending dawn of devastation. You check the navigation charts, fingers tracing the X-marked target over Hiroshima's grid, a historical debate raging in your head. Estimates said an invasion could kill 500,000 Americans and millions of Japanese. Was this bomb the lesser evil? A brutal shortcut to peace, or an indefensible escalation that forever taints victory? Empathy tugs for the underdogs below. Civilians like those you imagined earlier, their lives about to intersect with this airborne reaper. Twist hints build. What if the weather veils the target, sparing some but dooming others in a cosmic lottery? You lean back, the seat's padding worn thin, feeling the plane's hum as a lullaby laced with menace. Curiosity building, what strange image will this drop etch into the sky? A chill question lingering as the Japanese coast appears on the horizon. The altimeter ticks down, fear peaking with ironic armor. Little boy, big boom, you mutter under your breath, a sarcastic quip to steady your nerves. Below, the city awakens, unaware, its rivers glinting like forgotten hopes. You brace as the bomb bay doors whine open, the rush of wind howling like despair's own voice, motifs of light fracturing into prisms through the clouds, and in that suspended breath, you wonder, does this end the war, or just mutate its filth into something eternal? The bomb bay gapes wide, a yawning void swallowing the rush of thin air at 30,000 feet, the howling wind tearing through like despair's own scream, whipping your flight helmet and chilling the sweat on your neck to ice. You lean forward in the co-pilot's seat, the harness biting into your shoulders as the Enola Gay banks slightly, the Pacific far below a blurred tapestry of waves that mock the turmoil churning inside you. Fear surges now, a crisis wave crashing over your ironic humor. Your hands tremble on the yoke. Clever commentary bubbling up as a shield, dropping a sun from the sky, like gods playing catch with fireballs. What could go wrong? The absurdity hits harder up here, the bomb's release mechanism clicking with a finality that echoes Trinity's thunder, but mutated now into this airborne ritual of ruin. Little boy tumbles free, a sleek shadow plummeting earthward, and you watch it shrink against the dawn-lit clouds, the plane lurching lighter as if shedding a soul's weight. Sensory immersion engulfs you. The sudden quiet after the doors clang shut, broken only by the engine's steady drone vibrating through your bones. The cockpit's metallic tang sharpening with adrenaline's coppery bite on your tongue, your eyes stinging from staring at the falling speck. Wind remnants whistling through seals like ghostly laments. You glance at Tibbets, his jaw set like Oppenheimer's had been in the bunker, revisiting that haunted resolve scientist's torchlight calculations now airborne, fading into the despair of delivery. Historical uncertainty gnaws. What if the gun-type mechanism fails? The uranium slugs not slamming together just right. It's a fascinating tidbit from briefings. Early tests showed finicky triggers, a 50-50 shot in wind shear, turning this multi-million-dollar monster into a dud plummeting harmlessly into the sea. You almost hope for it, empathy flickering for the ground below. But fear overrides, your pulse a frantic drum as the altimeter unwinds. The plane circles wide, banking for the escape vector, and you zoom out in a poetic breath. The Japanese coastline sprawls like a fragile watercolor, rivers threading silver veins through green hills. The city of Hiroshima nestled innocently at their heart, a cluster of lanterns awaiting dawn's full kindle. But motifs mutate cruelly. Those peaceful lights below twist into symbols of deeper despair. Fragile flames about to be snuffed by your handiwork, the filth of creation raining from above. Action peaks as the timer in your head ticks 45 seconds to detonation and you brace, the plane shuddering through turbulence that feels like judgment's hand. Multi-twist unfolds in rapid fire, weather veils part of the target. The Aioi Bridge's T-shape obscured by haze, forcing a radar-aimed drop that's off by hundreds of yards, historical uncertainty amplified. As post-war debates rage over whether that miss spared a hospital or doomed an extra neighborhood, clever commentary slips in sarcastically, aiming for a bridge but hitting hearts talk about collateral poetry. Would you second-guess the drop if you knew the wind's whims, or shrug it off as war's chaotic pole? It's a question that invites reflection, lingering like the afterimage of a flash. Fear crests to emotional peak, your breath shallow as the horizon erupts a silent bloom at first, the flash piercing the cockpit like 1,000 suns, blinding even through your goggles, heat phantom washing over you despite the distance. Sensory assault intensifies. The shockwave hits seconds later, buffeting the plane like a giant slap, rattling instruments and jolting your teeth. The air pressure drops, ears popping with a painful crack. The mushroom cloud surges upward, a roiling pillar of fire and debris, its cap unfurling like a toxic umbrella that blots the morning light. You gasp, tasting bile. The visual onslaught vivid, the cloud's base churning with black filth, mutating Trinity's crater into this aerial abomination, despair's symbol writ large across the sky. Empathy crashes in amid the horror, a gut-wrench for the underdogs below civilians like the ones from your earlier glimpse, their routine shattered in an instant, rivers boiling with Fallout's grime. The plane steadies, Tibbet's banking away, but you can't tear your eyes from the rear viewport. The cloud towering now like a biblical pillar, flames licking its edges in hellish torchlight that fades into smoky despair. Modern parallel strikes. It's like remote hackers unleashing viruses today, watching digital fallout from afar, detached yet damned by the human toll. Fear lingers, heightened but laced with ironic detachment. We birthed a monster, and it waved goodbye with a boom, leading to budding empathy for all caught in this web, attackers and attacked alike. Uncertainty twists again. Post-drop radio chatter reveals the yield exceeded predictions. 15 kilotons vaporizing steel and flesh debate fodder for years. Was it precision salvation or reckless overkill? You slump back, the seat's padding suddenly insufficient against the chill settling in your core, a psychological shiver that mutates the motifs further. Torchlight hopes dimming into the cloud's eternal shadow. As Hiroshima vanishes behind the haze, the clouds top shears in high winds, spreading filth like a plague omen. You wonder with a mood shift. How does one sleep after summoning such despair, the empathy for the lost pulling you toward uneasy reflection? You hover in that suspended aftermath, the Enola Gay banking away from the roiling cloud, its motifs of filthy despair swirling in your wake like a toxic afterthought. But the question lingers, how do you reconcile summoning such a beast with the quiet of your own conscience? The plane drones onward. The cockpits hum a monotonous lullaby that fails to soothe the crisis brewing inside you. Fear still pulsing hot in your veins, laced with ironic commentary that feels like a brittle shield. We just played God, and all for a quicker end to the show curtain call or encore apocalypse. You exhale shakily, the recycled air tasting stale and metallic, as if the bomb's essence has seeped back through the fuselage, a sensory echo of the blast's acrid bite. Your hands unclench from the controls, fingers aching from the grip, and you rub them together, feeling the calluses rough against your palms, a tangible reminder of the physical toll this mission extracts. The radio crackles to life, Tibbetts' voice steady but edged with something unspoken. Perhaps the same empathy flickering in you for the unseen below as he confirms the drop's success. Results clear-cut, successful in all respects. You nod mechanically, but inside, the fear heightens into a churning storm. Commentary slipping sarcastically through your thoughts. Success like grading a massacre on a curve. The plane levels out, the horizon tilting back to normal, but nothing feels level anymore. The cloud recedes in the rear view, mutating from immediate horror into a distant symbol of despair's long shadow, its filth spreading across the sky like ink in water. Sensory immersion deepens the vibration of the engines, numbs your legs, a low-grade ache settling in, while the sun glares through the canopy, heating the cockpit to a stuffy warmth that clashes with the chill knot in your stomach. You glance at the navigator, his face pale under the flight cap, and wonder if he feels it too, this emerging empathy for the ground zero underdogs, their world upended by your handiwork. Hours stretch as you head back to Tinian, the Pacific below a monotonous blue expanse. Zoom out, poetic in its vast indifference, waves cresting endlessly, like forgotten breaths on an unfeeling sea. Motifs of lanterns bobbing faintly in the foam, as if mocking the lives extinguished far behind. An absurd tidbit bubbles up from briefings, cutting through the tension with dark humour. During the bomb's assembly, technicians nicknamed the core Demon Core after a lab accident nearly went critical. Killing a scientist with a rogue neutron burst ironic, isn't it? How even in peacetime, this tech played deadly games, foreshadowing the drop's own capricious fate. You almost laugh, a bitter sound lost in the engine roar, commentary turning inward. We tame the demon, only to set it loose on innocence, progress, or punchline. The debate rages silently in your head, historical uncertainty amplifying the fear Truman insisted it saved lives, averting a 1,000,000 casualty invasion. But post-war whispers question if Japan was already crumbling, the bombs an unnecessary flex of power that scarred humanity's soul. Modern parallel strikes uncomfortably close like targeted sanctions today, meant to cripple regimes but often starving civilians. Empathy demanding, do the end ever truly justify the means? You shift in your seat, the harness chafing like a guilty conscience, sensory struggle mounting as fatigue sets in the dry air parching your throat, forcing you to sip from a canteen that tastes faintly of aluminum. Visuals from the window hold you captive, islands dotting the ocean like stepping stones to regret, their green fringes a stark contrast to the ashen hell you left behind. Empathy deepens, a quiet ache for the Japanese underdogs, factory workers, mothers, children whose routines mirrored your pre-flight rituals, now vaporized in a flash. You revisit Oppenheimer in your mind, his haunted gaze from Los Alamos labs, motifs of torchlight knowledge now faded into the despair of unintended consequences, the filth of creation clinging to all involved. Shocking element jars you intelligence later revealed some Japanese scientists had their own fledgling program, uncertain and underfunded. But what if they'd succeeded first with the roles reverse? Empathy flipping the script on victors and victims. The plane descends toward Tinian, the runway rushing up like a welcoming scar on the coral atoll, wheels screeching on touchdown with a jolt that rattles your teeth. You unbuckle, legs wobbly as you step onto the tarmac, the tropical heat slamming back like a wave, sweat instantly beading and mixing with the salty ocean breeze that carries a faint, briny tang. Crewmates clap shoulders, voices hushed in subdued triumph, but you hang back, fear ebbing into ironic detachment. Medals for midwives of the mushroom, how quaint. An intriguing question tugs at you, inviting reflection as the sun dips low. If you could rewind that release lever, would the weight of what if crush you more than the act itself? Historical debate echoes. The bomb's hastened surrender. Yes, but at the cost of radiation's lingering curse, uncertainty in whether diplomacy could have spared the horror. Debriefing unfolds in a Quonset hut. The air stuffy with cigarette smoke that curls like mini mushroom clouds, motifs mutating into symbols of clouded judgment. You sit on a metal chair, its cold frame pressing into your back, listening to reports of the blast's yield far beyond predictions, a shocking overkill that vaporized rivers and etched shadows into stone. Empathy surges for the survivors, their world now a landscape of despair's filth, bombed back to primal chaos. Modern comparison whispers like oil spills today, meant for energy but poisoning seas for generations. The fallout endless. You rub your eyes, the hut's dim bulb flickering like failing torchlight, fear softening into weary empathy, commentary sarcastic yet poignant. We won the battle, but lost a piece of our humanity fair trade. As night falls on the island, lanterns glow along the runway like hopeful beacons, but you feel the chill settle, a psychological shiver despite the warmth, motifs of light struggling against encroaching dark. You lie on your bunk, staring at the ceiling, the question mood shifting into unease. What nightmares await those below? Their skies forever scarred, pulling you toward the ground's perspective next. The weight of the Enola Gay's departure hangs heavy, its droning engines fading into a distant hum as you shift scenes, no longer in the air but now on the ground in Nagasaki. August 9th, 1945, 3 days after Hiroshima's cataclysm. You're a worker in the city's Mitsubishi shipyard, your hands calloused from hauling steel under the relentless summer sun, the air thick with the briny scent of the harbour and the acrid tang of molten metal from nearby forges. Fear pulses through you, less a crisis now than a gnawing dread, tempered by ironic detachment. Another day, another siren, you mutter, sarcasm. Your shield against the rumours of Hiroshima's fate, whispers of a single bomb flattening a city, absurd as a science fiction tale. Your boots scuff the dusty dock, the ground gritty with coal ash, a sensory struggle that mirrors the filth motif from Trinity's crater, now mutated into this industrial grime coating your skin like despair's own residue. The harbour glitters under morning light, its waves lapping lazily, but the air feels charged, a psychological chill creeping in despite the heat. You heft a crate, muscles straining against the splintered wood, its rough texture biting into your palms as you navigate the bustling yard. Visuals crowd your senses. Cranes loom like skeletal giants, their cables swaying in the breeze. Workers in tattered caps shout orders over the clank of machinery. Fishing boats bob in the distance, their nets glinting like fragile lanterns against the tide. Motifs of light teetering on the edge of oblivion. Empathy stirs for these underdog shipbuilders, families, children who've endured years of wartime scarcity, their resilience echoing Depression-era Americans soldering through bread lines. You pause to wipe sweat from your brow, the salty sting in your eyes sharpening the discomfort, and overhear a co-worker's hushed tidbit. They say Hiroshima's gone. One flash, like God's wrath. It's a shocking element, absurd in its scale. How could one bomb do that? And your sarcasm bites back. Sure, and the moon's made of rice paste next. But the chill deepens, fear coiling tighter as a distant drone grows louder. A recurring motif from Hiroshima's sky is now haunting yours. The siren wails, familiar yet ominous, and you join the sluggish shuffle toward a shelter. The crowd's murmurs thick with unease. Sensory immersion grips you. The concrete bunker smells of damp earth and sweat. Its walls clammy against your shoulder as you squeeze in. Your breath catches, tasting faintly of dust and panic. The ground vibrates faintly, as if the earth itself senses the coming storm. You glance at a young boy clutching his mother's hand, his wide eyes mirroring your own growing fear, empathy swelling for these lives tethered to yours by shared survival. Historical uncertainty clouds the moment. Post-war reports later reveal the Fat Man bomb, meant for Kokura, was redirected to Nagasaki due to cloud cover, an absurd twist. As if the weather played dice with 40,000 souls. You wonder. Irony-cutting sharp clouds save one city and doom another, nature's cruelest coin flip. It's a debate that lingers. Did the second bomb hasten surrender? Or was it overkill, piling despair atop Hiroshima's ashes? Modern parallel stings, like algorithm-driven strikes today, missing targets but hitting homes, the fallout human and eternal. The drone overhead crescendos, and you crane your neck, catching a glint of silver through the shelter's slit window, the B-29 boxcar, its silhouette a grim echo of Enola Gay. Action spikes as the shelter trembles, a low rumble building into a deafening roar, and then it hits. A blinding flash sears your vision, white-hot and merciless, followed by a shockwave that slams you against the wall, the concrete bruising your ribs. Sensory assault overwhelms, heat washes over like a furnace blast, singeing your hair with a scorched chemical stench. Your ears ring with a high-pitched whine, drowning out screams. The air chokes with dust and burning ash. Filth's motif now a suffocating cloud of despair's full bloom. Visuals sear into your memory. The bunker cracks, light pouring through like fractured torchlight. Outside, buildings collapse like paper houses, flames licking skyward, bodies stumble through smoke, skin peeling in grotesque sheets. Fear peaks, a raw panic that claws your chest, but irony persists. Fat Man, name for Churchill's jowly grin, cute moniker for a city killer. You stagger out as the shaking subsides. The harbour now a graveyard of twisted cranes and smouldering ships, the water steaming with unnatural heat. Zoom out poetic. The city lies broken, a shattered mosaic under a mushroom cloud's looming veil, its edges curling like a funeral shroud over hope's last lanterns. Empathy floods you for the boy, now crying in the rubble, for workers like you, underdogs crushed by powers beyond reach. Shocking element jars Nagasaki's death toll. Later tallied at 74,000, was lower than predicted because the bomb detonated off target in a valley, sparing parts of the city, an absurd twist of luck amid tragedy. Debate rages. Was this second strike necessary to break Japan's will, or a brutal encore to prove American might? Modern comparison echoes like social media pylons today, amplifying harm for clout. The second bomb's legacy questions intent versus impact. You kneel beside a fallen beam, fingers brushing ash-coated wood, its heat lingering like a fading pulse. The boy's mother calls out, her voice cracked with grief, and you help lift debris, empathy driving you despite the fear still trembling in your limbs. Sarcastic commentary slips through 2 bombs in a week. Guess we're rewriting the rules of overkill. Intriguing question invites reflection. If you could rewrite this moment, would you plead for diplomacy over destruction, or accept the grim math of war's end? The sky darkens, the clouds filth, spreading like despair's ink. Torchlight hopes dimming in the haze. As you stand, ash falling like poisoned snow. A strange image chills you. A lone origami crane, half burned, flutters in the wind, its fragile wings a defiant flicker against the desolation, pulling you toward the survivor's next struggle. The ash settles like a grim snowfall over Nagasaki's ruins. That half-burned origami crane fluttering in your mind's eye as a fragile symbol of defiance, its charred edges mutating the lantern motif into a flicker of hope, drowned in despair's filth. You're no longer in the shattered shipyard. Now, you're Tsutomu Yamaguchi, an engineer caught in Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, your body still aching from that first blinding flash just 3 days ago. You stumble through the city's smouldering heart, your skin raw and blistered, the air thick with a choking mix of charred wood and something darker human ash, a sensory assault that clogs your throat with a sour, metallic tang. Fear courses through you, raw and primal, a crisis peak that makes your heart hammer against scorched ribs, but irony laces it with bitter commentary. One bomb wasn't enough. Fate's got a sick sense of humour, tossing me into round 2. Your shoes crunch on glass-shattered streets, each step a sensory struggle, the ground's heat seeping through soles to scald your feet, despair's filth now a tangible grit coating your every breath. You clutch a bandage over your arm, the rough gauze sticky with blood and sweat, its texture a constant reminder of survival's cost. Hiroshima sprawls around you, a wasteland of twisted metal and collapsed homes, visuals searing into your soul, shadows of people burned into walls like grim silhouettes. Frozen mid-step, the Otter River choked with floating debris and bodies. Its once sparkling surface now a murky mirror of ruin. A lone bicycle wheel spins slowly in the wind, creaking like a ghostly lament. Empathy surges for the underdogs around you, mothers searching for children. Workers like you dazed in the rubble, each a mirror of your own battered resilience. Echoing Depression-era families clawing through Dust Bowl misery. Shocking element jolts you. You survive the Hiroshima blast by diving into a ditch. Sheer luck sparing you from 15 kilotons of fury. But now, sent to Nagasaki for work, you're walking into another ground zero absurd, like a horror movie protagonist who just won't die, you mutter sarcastically. Lucky me. Starring in Apocalypse sequel number 1. The morning sun barely pierces the haze, its light fractured into eerie beams that dance through smoke, mutating the torchlight motif into a cruel mockery of hope, fading into despair's ashen veil. You shuffle toward a makeshift clinic, the air heavy with moans and the antiseptic sting of iodine, your eyes stinging from dust and tears you can't shed. Historical uncertainty gnaws. Later reports debate if Hiroshima's targeting was precise or reckless. The Aoi Bridge's X-mark missed by yards. Amplifying civilian toll, did planners know? Or was it war's chaotic math? You pause by a shattered shop, its shelves spilling broken teacups, their porcelain shards smooth yet jagged under your fingers, a sensory struggle mirroring your fractured spirit. Debate rages inwardly. Was this bomb a necessary hammer to break Japan's defiance? Or a war crime etching guilt into history's ledger? Modern parallel cuts deep like drone strikes today, aimed at threats but shredding innocence, leaving survivors to navigate the fallout's moral maze. Action spikes as you hear that familiar drone overhead, your pulse racing, fear peeking into panic as you recognize the sound from 3 days ago, a B-29 harbinger of hell. You dive for cover behind a stone wall, its mossy surface cool against your fevered skin, but the flash comes anyway, blinding white through clenched eyelids, a supernova that burns your retinas with after images. The blast follows, a thunderous roar that slams you flat, the ground bucking like a living beast, debris raining down with a gritty patter that mixes with screams. Sensory assault overwhelms, heat sears your exposed skin, a scalding wave that smells of charred earth and flesh. Your ears ring with a deafening whine, muffling the world. Ash coats your tongue, thick and bitter like despair's own flavour. Visuals haunt buildings, vaporize into skeletal frames. Flames licking skyward like demonic tongues. A child's sandal lies smouldering in the street. Its owner gone. The mushroom cloud rises again, filthier and darker than Hiroshima's, its cap curling like a vengeful god's frown. You crawl from cover, body aching, empathy flooding for the thousands now sharing your double survival, a cruel twist of fate, absurd in its rarity. Commentary bites. 2 bombs? One guy, am I cursed or charmed? Intriguing question invites reflection. If you survived twice, would you see it as luck or a cosmic taunt, pushing you to find meaning in the madness? Historical tidbit shocks. Yamaguchi's survival wasn't just luck post-war. He became a peace advocate, his scars a testament to resilience. Yet he faced distrust, some calling him a traitor for speaking out. You stagger forward, the street a moonscape of rubble. Empathy deepening for these underdogs, their lives rewritten in an instant, much like Great Depression survivors rebuilding from nothing. Zoom out poetic. The city lies gutted, a smouldering canvas where hope's lanterns flicker faintly against despair's blackened shroud. The cloud's filth spreading like a stain on time. You help a woman pull bricks from a collapsed wall, her hands trembling as yours do, the shared act knitting your fears into collective strength. Modern comparison lingers like pandemic survivors today, enduring wave after wave. Yamaguchi's story mirrors those who rise from repeated blows, empathy binding past to present. The debate persists. Did these bombs shorten the war, saving millions, or multiply suffering needlessly, their fallout a moral scar? As you limp toward the river, its waters steaming with unnatural heat, a strange image chills you. A single lotus flower floats defiantly amid the wreckage, its pale petals glowing like a lantern against the filth, pulling you toward the surrender's echo next. The lotus flower's faint glow lingers in your mind, a fragile lantern bobbing against Nagasaki's steaming river, its defiance a stark contrast to the filthy despair cloaking the city like a shroud. You're still Tsutomu Yamaguchi, but now you're on the outskirts. August 9th, 1945, your body a map of burns from Hiroshima's blast. Now witnessing Nagasaki's own apocalypse from a hilltop vantage, the air is thick with ash and heat, a choking haze that coats your throat with a gritty, charred taste, like swallowing the ruins themselves. Fear pulses through you, no longer raw panic but a weary crisis, tempered by sarcastic commentary that feels like a lifeline. 2 cities, 2 bombs. One my fate's got a vendetta, doesn't it? Your shoes, tattered from days of wandering, crunch on scorched earth. Each step a sensory struggle as embers sting through holes in the soles. Despair's residue mutating into this apocalyptic dust that clings to your sweat-soaked clothes. You lean against a gnarled tree, its bark rough and warm under your palms, the last green thing standing amid a landscape of devastation. Visuals assault you below. Nagasaki's harbour smoulders, ships tilted like broken toys in a boiling tide. The mushroom cloud looms, darker and denser than Hiroshima's, its edges fraying like torn cloth against a bruised sky. A lone temple bell lies cracked in the dirt, its bronze glinting faintly like a fallen lantern, motifs of light fading into despair's deeper shadow. Empathy surges for the underdogs in the city dockworkers, school children, families whose lives you shared just hours ago, now erased or struggling in the rubble. A shocking tidbit jars you fat man's yield. 21 kilotons was stronger than Hiroshima's, but its valley detonation spared some districts absurd luck, like a cosmic dice roll deciding who lives or dies. You shake your head, irony biting clouds and hills as Saviour's guess nature's got a dark sense of humour too. The ground still trembles faintly, aftershocks rippling through your aching legs, a sensory assault that mirrors the psychological chill in your chest, Fear of surviving twice, only to face a world forever altered. You cough, the air heavy with a sulphurous stench, like eggs rotting in a furnace, your eyes watering from smoke and unshed grief. Historical uncertainty gnaws a post-war analysis debates if Nagasaki's bomb was overkill. Japan already teetering on surrender after Hiroshima did 74,000 more deaths tip the scale. Or just deepen the moral stain, you clutch a makeshift bandage. Its coarse fabric sticky with blood, empathy deepening for survivors like you, underdogs clawing through despair's filth, much like Depression-era Americans rebuilding from ash heaps of economic ruin. Modern parallel cuts sharp. It's like cyber attacks today. One strike crippling systems, a second piling on for show, leaving innocents to pick up the pieces. Action spikes as you stumble down the hill, drawn toward the city's cries, your body protesting with every step, burns screaming under sweat-soaked rags. You pass a shattered school, its blackboard cracked but scrawled with a child's chalk, drawing a sun, half melted, like a cruel echo of the blast's flash. Visuals sear, a woman digs frantically through rubble, her hands bloodied, a dog limps past, fur singed to patches, the cloud disperses slowly, its filthy cap fading into a sky that feels too calm. Torchlight motifs mutating into flickering embers of lost hope. You help lift a beam, its splintered weight heavy in your arms, empathy driving you despite the fear that this could be your grave too. Sarcastic commentary slips through, survive one bomb. Get a sequel free, Hollywood's got nothing on this plot twist. Intriguing question invites reflection. If you were Yamaguchi, would you see double survival as a blessing or a curse? Each breath a defiance or a burden? A multi-twist unfolds, post-war. You learn Nagasaki's bomb was nearly aborted. Boxcar's fuel issues almost forced to ditch into the sea. A fluke of engineering saving or dooming thousands. Another twist. Some Japanese officials, unaware of Hiroshima's scale, thought Nagasaki's hit was survivable, delaying surrender talks' irony in how denial fueled more death. You pause by a stream, its water murky with ash, dipping your hands to splash your face. The coolness a fleeting relief against the burning in your skin. Sensory struggle intensifies. The liquid stings, open wounds. Smelling faintly of decay, distant screams pierce the haze like needles. Your chest tightens, each breath a fight against despair's weight. Debate rages. Was Nagasaki's bomb a final blow to break Japan's militarists, or a needless escalation, piling guilt on victory? Modern comparison echoes like social media pile-ons today, amplifying harm for clout. Nagasaki's blast questions intent versus impact. You kneel by the stream, fingers trailing in the muck, visuals lingering. A child's toy boat floats, half charred, a lantern-like relic in the filth. Survivors stagger past, eyes hollow like ghosts. The city's skyline lies broken, a jagged silhouette under a fading cloud. Empathy floods you for the boy from the shipyard. Maybe lost now, for yourself. Twice spared but scarred. Irony tempers the horror. 2 ground zeros, 1 heartbeat. Guess I'm the punchline to history's cruelest joke. Zoom out, poetic Nagasaki lies gutted. A canvas of ash where hope's lanterns flicker like dying stars. Despair's shroud settling heavy. You rise, legs trembling, the debate lingering. Did these bombs force peace, or just mutate war's filth into a radioactive legacy? As you limp toward a makeshift clinic, a strange image chills you. A single unbroken window reflects the fading cloud, its glass glowing like a ghostly lantern, pulling you toward the surrender's dawn. The ghostly reflection in that unbroken window fades, its lantern-like glow swallowed by Nagasaki's ashen dusk, leaving you with the weight of Yamaguchi's dual survival and a city's despair etched into your bones. You're no longer trudging through rubble. Now, you're in Tokyo. August 15th, 1945, kneeling on a worn tatami mat in a modest home, the air heavy with the sticky heat of late summer and a tension that clings like damp cloth. Fear lingers. No longer a fiery crisis, but a dull ache, tempered by ironic detachment as you clutch a small radio, its cracked wood warm under your fingers, waiting for the Emperor's voice to break the silence. Sarcastic commentary bubbles up Hirohito, a god on airwaves. Guess even deities get stage fright when war's lost. The room smells of old rice and faint incense, a sensory struggle as the humidity presses against your skin. Despair's filth now mutating into the stifling weight of a nation's defeat. The torchlight of hope dimming into surrender's uncertain flicker. You adjust the radio dial, its static crackling like a distant storm, each hiss amplifying the psychological chill in your chest, anticipation laced with dread, as if the broadcast itself could unravel reality. Visuals crowd the dim space. The paper shoji screens glow faintly with streetlight, casting shadows like ghostly figures. A single candle flickers on a low table, its flame a fragile lantern motif struggling against the dark. Outside, neighbors huddle in silence, their faces drawn with hunger and fatigue, echoes of Depression-era Americans waiting for relief that never comes. Empathy surges for these underdogs, Tokyo's civilians, battered by years of rationing and air raids, now bracing for the unknown. A shocking tidbit jolts you Hirohito's surrender speech. The first time his voice reaches the masses was recorded in a bunker under palace gunfire, nearly thwarted by a militarist coup absurd, like a divine script rewritten by rebels at the last second. You smirk bitterly God Emperor in a bomb shelter, begging for peace talk about a plot twist. The radio sputters to life, Hirohito's voice thin and strained, speaking of a new and most cruel bomb and the need to endure the unendurable. Fear spikes, your heart thudding as the words sink in, the room's stillness shattered by their weight. Sensory immersion grips you. The tatami straw pricks through your thin socks, grounding you in discomfort. The air grows heavier, smelling of sweat and dust as neighbors press closer to hear. Your fingers tremble on the radio, its plastic knob slick with nervous sweat. Historical uncertainty clouds the moment post-war debates rage over whether Japan would have surrendered without Nagasaki. Some arguing the first bomb and Soviet advances were enough did the second strike just pile despair on a broken will. Modern parallel cuts deep like leaked tapes today exposing leaders' cracks. Hirohito's broadcast bared a nation's vulnerability, sparking conspiracy theories that echo online denialism. You wonder, irony-biting surrender on scratchy airwaves did some think it was fake news, like QAnon rejecting election results. Action unfolds as the broadcast ends, silence deafening, broken only by muffled sobs and the creak of wooden floors as neighbors shift. You step outside, the city's pulse faltering under a grey sky. Visuals vivid, white flags droop from balconies, limp as defeated spirits. Soldiers kneel in alleys, some clutching knives in ritual despair. A lone bicycle lies abandoned, its wheels spinning like a futile lantern spinning out hope. Empathy deepens for this nation of underdogs, their resilience tested beyond breaking, much like Great Depression families facing foreclosure yet clinging to community. A multi-twist unfolds. Some Japanese, stunned by Hirohito's human voice, refuse to believe it, clinging to Bushido defiance and absurd denial, like modern flat earthers rejecting science. Another twist, the coup attempt, crushed hours before, saw young officers storm the palace, desperate to burn the recording irony in their failure preserving peace's fragile spark. Intriguing question invites reflection. If you heard that broadcast, would you accept defeat's bitter pill, or cling to pride's illusion like those rebels? You wander Tokyo's streets, the pavement cracked from raids, its texture rough under your getter clogs, each step a sensory struggle echoing your inner turmoil. The air carries a faint char from distant fires. Despair's filth, now a pervasive gloom that dulls the city's colours. Debate lingers. Did the bombs force this surrender, saving lives from a prolonged war? Or was it unnecessary cruelty, scarring Japan's soul for generations? Modern comparison stings, like social media exposing crises today. The broadcast forced truth on a nation, but at the cost of shattering myths. You pause by a shrine, its stone lanterns unlit, their cold surfaces a stark contrast to the warmth of your candlelit room, motifs mutating into symbols of extinguished hope. Empathy swells for the boy from Nagasaki's shipyard, perhaps lost, for Yamaguchi, surviving to carry this weight, for yourself, feeling their collective grief. Zoom out. Poetic Tokyo sprawls like a wounded giant, its lanterns dim under surrender's heavy veil, despair's shroud pierced by flickers of resilience. You kneel by the shrine, fingers tracing mossy stone, the chill grounding you as fear softens into weary empathy. Sarcastic commentary persists. Gods bow, cities burn, and we're left picking up the pieces, classic wartime encore. As night falls, a strange image chills you. A single white flag flutters alone in the breeze, its edges frayed like a ghost plea, pulling you toward the survivor's scars next. The frayed white flag's ghostly flutter lingers in your mind. A tattered lantern of surrender fading into Tokyo's somber night, its edges unraveling like the hope you cling to amidst despair's pervasive filth. You're no longer kneeling by that shrine. Now, you're a hibakusha, a survivor of Hiroshima's blast, stumbling through the city's ruins in late August 1945, your body a canvas of burns and scars that throb with every step. The air is thick with a sickly blend of ash and decay, a choking haze that coats your throat with a bitter, metallic grit, as if despair itself has settled into the city's bones. Fear has dulled into a chronic ache, a psychological chill that seeps through your tattered clothes, but ironic commentary keeps you afloat, survived the flash. But now I'm dodging cancer's slow burn. Lucky me, right. Your bare feet shuffle over rubble, the jagged stones cutting into souls already raw, a sensory struggle that mutates the filth motif from Nagasaki's ash into this gritty, radioactive residue clinging to your skin like a second wound. You limp toward a makeshift clinic, its canvas tent flapping in the humid breeze, the air inside heavy with iodine's sharp sting and the low moans of the wounded. Visuals haunt you. Bandages stained red pile in corners like discarded hopes. A child clutches a singed teddy bear, its button eyes staring blankly. The Otter River glints outside, its surface oily with fallout, a twisted lantern reflecting a poisoned sky. Empathy surges for these underdogs hibakusha like you, scarred by the bomb's invisible claws, their resilience echoing Great Depression families piecing lives back together after economic collapse. A shocking tidbit jars you radiation sickness, later studied, spiked thyroid cancers in children by thousands, an absurd legacy for a weapon meant to end war swiftly. Irony bites as you think. Peace through poison. That's one hell of a sales pitch. Your hand grazes a wooden crutch, its splintered grain rough against your palm, grounding you in this fractured reality where survival feels like a cruel punchline. The clinic's chaos overwhelms. Nurses darting between cots with frantic precision, their faces etched with exhaustion mirroring your own. Sensory immersion deepens. The canvas flaps snap like gunfire, jarring your nerves, sweat beads on your brow, mixing with dust to form a gritty paste. Your burns itch fiercely, a maddening prickle on your skin that begs to be scratched but screams when touched. Fear lingers, not of death but of living like this half alive, haunted by radiation's slow creep. Historical uncertainty clouds the scene. Post-war records debate whether medical aid reached survivors fast enough. Some claiming Allied delays were punishment, others insisting logistics crumbled under the scale did help lag from malice or chaos. You clutch a water bottle, its lukewarm contents tasting faintly of ash, empathy swelling for the mother on the cot beside you, her child's fevered cries piercing your heart. Modern parallel stings like opioid crisis victims today, battling addiction's long-term scars. Hibakusha faced a society quick to pity but slow to heal, leaving underdogs to fend for themselves. You step outside for a breath. The Hiroshima skyline, a jagged ruin under a grey haze, zoom out poetic. The city lies broken, a shattered mosaic where lanterns of hope flicker, faintly against despair's radioactive shroud. A multi-twist unfolds. 1. Survivors like you were shunned, feared as tainted by radiation, an absurd social stigma branding them outcasts in their own land. 2. Some hibakusha, like Yamaguchi, turned pain into purpose, guiding tours at ground zero decades later, irony in selling tickets to their own hell. a testament to resilience over despair. You pause by a crumbled wall, its bricks warm from lingering heat, fingers tracing graffiti scrawled by another survivor. We live. Empathy deepens for these silent warriors, their scars a map of survival, much like Depression-era migrants carving new lives from Dust Bowl wastelands. Sarcastic commentary cuts through, survived the blast. Now battling mutant cells, guess I'm a superhero with the worst origin story. You help a nurse carry water, the bucket's metal handle digging into your blistered hands. A sensory struggle that grounds you in shared suffering. Visuals sear. A lone tree stands charred but budding. A defiant green sprout against blackened bark. Patients line the riverbank, washing wounds in murky water. A paper crane, half folded, rests on a cot, its edges curling like a fading lantern. Debate rages. Did memorials built later to Hiroshima's Peace Park offer justice, or just gloss over guilt with symbolic gestures? Modern comparison echoes like environmental cleanup funds today, meant to heal oil spills but often falling short. Post-war aid promised much but delivered little. You kneel to help a child fold another crane, its paper crisp yet fragile. Empathy binding you to her quiet determination. A nod to Sadako Sasaki's Thousand Cranes legend, hope woven from despair's threads. The day drags on, the sun beating down mercilessly, turning the rubble into a furnace that radiates heat up through your thin soles, a constant burn that mirrors the internal fire of your wounds. You join a line for rations, the meager rice sticky and clumped in your bowl, its texture mushy against your tongue, tasting faintly of mold, a sensory reminder of scarcity's bite. Around you, whispers circulate of more symptoms, hair falling out in clumps, unexplained fevers, blood in coughs, the bomb's invisible aftermath, a shocking element that creeps like a thief in the night. Tidbit absurd. Some survivors reported glowing at night from radiation, an eerie bioluminescence that turned them into living lanterns, an ironic twist. As if the bomb gifted a macabre light show amid the dark. You touch your thinning hair, fingers coming away with strands. Empathy for the child beside you who mirrors your fatigue. Her small hands trembling as she sips water. Fear evolves here, from acute terror to a lingering dread of the unknown. Commentary, sarcastic yet poignant. The bomb's gone, but its ghost lingers. Talk about a bad house guest. Historical debate simmers. Allied scientists knew radiation's risks from Trinity, but downplayed them in reports were warnings suppressed for morale, or ignorance a convenient excuse. You sit on a stone, its cool surface a brief relief against your fevered skin, watching a group pray by a makeshift altar. Their voice is a murmur of resilience. Modern parallel resonates like long COVID sufferers today, grappling with unseen ailments while society moves on. Hibakusha fought for recognition. Their underdog stories a call for empathy and indifference. You rise to help clear debris, muscles aching as you lift a beam, its splintered wood rough and heavy, splintering into your palms like despair's thorns. Visuals unfold. A woman scavenges for family photos amid ash, her tears cutting clean tracks through grime. A doctor amputates a limb without anesthesia. The patient's muffled screams piercing the haze. The sky clears slightly, revealing stars like distant lanterns, motifs flickering hope against the filth below. Empathy anchors you. A quiet bond with strangers turned kin by shared trauma. Intriguing question invites reflection. If radiation stole your future, would you curse the sky or fold cranes for peace? Like Sadako's enduring legacy. Night falls. The clinic's lanterns glowing faintly, casting shadows that dance like restless spirits, their light mutating into symbols of fragile endurance. You lie on a mat, the straw pricking your back, sensory struggle fading into exhaustion. Debate lingers. Was compensation enough, or a token for lives shattered? Modern comparison whispers like reparations debates today. Hibakusha's fight highlights justice's slow grind. As sleep tugs, a strange image chills you. A child's hand clutching a crane, its paper glowing under moonlight like a beacon in the filth, pulling you toward trials of guilt and rebuilding next. The ruins stretch endlessly, a labyrinth of broken dreams where every shadow hides a story. But you close your eyes, empathy wrapping you like a blanket, the chill of despair yielding to reflection's gentle warmth. Fear subsides, replaced by a resilient spark. Perhaps tomorrow's dawn will bring healing, or at least the strength to endure. You breathe deeply, the air still tainted but lighter now. Motifs of lanterns multiplying in your dreams as stars overhead, guiding underdogs through the dark. Historical tidbits replay thousands of Hibakusha migrated seeking normalcy, but stigma followed an absurd exile in their own land. Debate deepens. Allied occupation brought aid, but was it atonement or control? Modern echoes like refugee crises today. Survivors rebuild identities amid prejudice. You shift on the mat, fingers twitching as if folding invisible cranes. Empathy for Sadako's quest. A girl who died at 12, her cranes, a symbol of peace. Petitions worldwide. The night deepens, wind whispering through cracks, carrying distant cries that fade into silence. Sensory details linger, the mat's straw scent earthy and comforting. Your burns a dull throb, a reminder of a life's tenacity. The clinic's murmurs a lullaby of shared humanity. Irony softens, bombed into Peace War's ultimate oxymoron. Reflection invites. What if your scars became stories of hope? Like Yamaguchi's lectures that inspire disarmament. Dawn creeps in, light filtering through tent flaps like hesitant lanterns. Motifs recurring as symbols of renewal amid filth's retreat. You rise, joints creaking, ready to face another day. Empathy fueling your steps. The clinic bustles anew. Nurses distributing sparse medicine, their dedication a beacon. Visuals. A sunrise paints the rubble golden, transforming despair into dawn's promise. A group shares bread, faces lined but eyes resolute. The river flows cleaner, its surface rippling like healing veins. Debate concludes Hibakusha's advocacy-shaped treatise. But was it enough to erase the bomb's shadow modern parallel? Like climate activists today, turning personal loss into global calls, their legacy endures. As you step out, the air fresher. A child hands you a folded crane, its paper warm from small hands, empathy sealing the bond. The strange image from before evolves. Cranes multiply in the wind, lanterns of peace scattering filth, pulling you toward justice's slow march. The crane's fragile dance in the wind lingers, their paper wings glowing like lanterns of peace scattering the filth of Hiroshima's scars, pulling you from the clinic's dim refuge into a new chapter of reckoning. It's 1946 now, and you're in a Tokyo courtroom, a survivor turned witness at the war crimes trials. Your burns hidden under a loose kimono that brushes your skin with soft, worn cotton. Its texture a faint comfort against the raw ache beneath. The air carries a sterile whiff of polished wood and ink, undercut by the faint sweat of crowded onlookers. A sensory struggle that mirrors the psychological chill in your chest. Guilt and empathy warring as you face the ghosts of the atomic age. Fear has faded into a heavy reflection, tempered by sarcastic commentary that keeps despair at bay. Here I am, testifying against war, while my scars scream louder than words. Ironic justice. Your fingers trace the edge of a wooden bench, its grains smooth yet cold, grounding you as you prepare to speak, the courtroom's hush pressing like a weight on your shoulders. Visuals unfold starkly. The room glows under harsh fluorescent lights, mutating the lantern motif into a clinical glare that casts sharp shadows on the walls. Judges in black robes loom like somber statues behind a raised dais, their pens scratching paper with rhythmic insistence, each stroke echoing like a distant hammer on steel. A photo exhibit of Hiroshima's ruins lies spread on a table, its black and white images capturing the twisted metal skeletons of buildings and the eerie shadows of vaporized people etched into stone, silent witnesses to the bomb's fury. Empathy surges for the underdogs here, Hibakusha like you. Their testimonies weaving a tapestry of survival that echoes Great Depression families demanding justice from the banks that crush their dreams. Their voices rising in court like a chorus of the forgotten. A shocking tidbit jars you post-war. Some American scientists, including Oppenheimer, face scrutiny for their roles in the Manhattan Project. their guilt manifesting in private letters and public breakdowns, an absurd legacy for men who built the bomb to end fascism, only to become defendants in the court of public opinion. You mutter inwardly. Irony biting sharp, built a bomb to save the world, now judged for burning part of it poetic. Right, like inventors of the internet regretting the trolls it unleashed. You rise to the stand, throat dry despite sipping from a tin cup of water, its metallic tang lingering on your tongue like a faint echo of radiation's bite. Sensory immersion grips you tighter. The room's air feels thick and oppressive, heavy with the weight of unspoken grief and the faint rustle of papers being shuffled. Your voice rasps as you begin, raw from the ash-filled days that scarred your lungs. The bench behind you creaks under shifting bodies, a faint echo of the rubble's crunch underfoot in Hiroshima. Reflection deepens as you recount the flash, the heat, the screams that followed a multi-twist unfolding in your narrative. 1. Japanese leaders on trial claimed ignorance of the bomb's true horror, believing early reports exaggerated for propaganda, an absurd denial that prolonged suffering until surrender. 2. Allied prosecutors grappled with their own hypocrisy, downplaying radiation's long-term effects to avoid implicating American decisions. Irony in how victors scrubbed their hands while pointing fingers. You pause, catching a judge's eye, empathy bridging the cultural divide both of you humans entangled in war's web, seeking some semblance of meaning in its tangled threads. The courtroom buzzes softly during breaks, the air growing stuffier with each passing hour, smelling of dust kicked up from old files and the subtle perfume of a spectator's handkerchief. Your burns itch under the kimono, a maddening prickle that demands scratching but yields only pain. Despair's filth, now a personal torment etched into your flesh. Debate rages openly here. Were these trials genuine justice for Hiroshima's 140,000 victims and Nagasaki's 74,000, or a victor's theatre to legitimize the bombs while condemning Axis atrocities? Post-war documents reveal U.S. reluctance to prosecute their own for firebombing Tokyo, which killed 100,000 in one-night historical uncertainty in whether atomic horrors were exceptional or just escalation's peak. Modern parallel cuts deep, like corporate hearings today, where tech CEOs apologize for privacy breaches while avoiding real accountability. The trials promised closure but left gaps for the underdogs to fill with their own resilience. You glance at a fellow Hibakusha in the audience, Yamaguchi's determined face flashing in memory. His dual survival, a beacon amid the gloom empathy, swells for him, turning personal pain into public advocacy, much like civil rights leaders rising from segregation's ashes. A fascinating tidbit shocks the room. Some Japanese defendants argued the bombs were war crimes themselves, flipping the script on prosecutors an absurd courtroom reversal, like victims accusing their rescuers of overzealous force. Sarcastic commentary slips through your thoughts, from bombed to bombed again. In words, history's got a flair for drama. Intriguing question invites reflection. If you sat on that bench, would you forgive the planners for saving lives, or demand they face the same mirror of guilt? Testimonies continue, each voice layering the narrative, the air thickening with emotion as a doctor describes radiation's creeping toll: hair loss, leukemia. Birth defects, a shocking element that turns the trial into a medical horror show. You shift on the stand, the wood's hardness bruising your thighs, sensory struggle intensifying as fatigue sets in, your eyes heavy from sleepless nights haunted by flashbacks. Visuals sear deeper. A map projected on the wall marks blast radii, circles of death overlapping civilian zones. A survivor displays scars, skin mottled like melted wax. The judge's notes pile up, ink bleeding slightly on cheap paper, like blood seeping from old wounds. Empathy anchors you. A quiet bond with the accused and accusers alike, all pawns in a game of nations, their regrets mirroring your own scars. The day drags, sunlight slanting through high windows and golden shafts that dance dust motes like fleeting lanterns. Motifs flickering hope against the courtroom's stark reality. You help an elderly witness to her seat, her hand frail in yours, its papery texture evoking vulnerability amid strength. Debate lingers. Did rebuilding Japan schools funded, economy revived, absolve the bomb's sin, or merely shift focus from guilt to gratitude? Modern comparison whispers, like reparations for historical wrongs today, from slavery to indigenous lands. The trials offered symbols but skimped on substance. Your breath slows, the air fresher as a window cracks open, carrying a hint of rain, a sensory shift toward cleansing. As evening falls, the courtroom empties, lanterns outside glowing along streets rebuilt from rubble. Their light soft but steady, mutating filth into redemption's tentative glow. You walk toward a memorial park, its stone paths cool underfoot, etched with names that echo endless loss. Visuals linger, cherry blossoms petal down like gentle snow, a group lights candles, flames wavering in unity, the sky darkens, stars emerging like eternal lanterns. Empathy swells, a quiet ache for survivors and architects alike, all underdogs in history's brutal forge. Irony tempers from ashes to alliances, war's weird alchemy. Reflection invites. What if your testimony sparked true change, like voices today calling for nuclear bans? The park quiets, lanterns casting golden pools that chase shadows, motifs carrying pieces weight. You sit on a bench, its wood worn smooth by countless visitors, the chill of night settling like a blanket. Debate concludes. Trials healed some wounds, but left radiation's legacy festering justice incomplete. Modern parallel. Like AI ethics hearings today, promising safeguards but dodging past harms, your eyelids heavy. Empathy wrapping you warmly. The strange image from before evolves, a crane silhouette against the moon, its wings spread in silent flight, pulling you toward the global fallout shadow. The crane's silhouette against the moon fades, its paper wings a fleeting lantern of peace dissolving into Tokyo's night, its edges unraveling like the hope you cling to amidst despair's pervasive filth. You're no longer in the courtroom. Now, it's 1950, and you're a schoolteacher in a small American town, standing in a classroom in the Midwest. The air thick with the chalky dust of lessons and the faint scent of polished desks. The psychological chill of Hiroshima's aftermath lingers. Fear now a distant hum, mutated into a reflective unease as you face a new generation under the shadow of the Cold War. Sarcastic commentary bubbles up, a shield against the creeping dread teaching kids to duck and cover because desks stop nukes. Right. Your fingers grip a worn textbook, its pages rough and yellowed, a sensory struggle grounding you as the world braces for a new arms race. Despair's filth, now a global anxiety coating the air like invisible fallout. You write equations on the blackboard, the chalk's gritty scrape echoing in the quiet room, but your eyes keep drifting to the window, where a civil defense poster flaps in the breeze, urging prepare in bold red letters. Visuals crowd your senses. The poster's cartoonish bomb explodes in garish colors, a twisted lantern motif warning of destruction's new face. Students fidget at desks, their pencils tapping nervously. Outside, a siren wails in a drill, its wail piercing like a Hiroshima survivor's cry. Empathy swells for these kids' underdogs in a world where adults' choices loom like mushroom clouds, their innocence echoing Depression-era children clutching ration books. A shocking tidbit jolts you by 1950, the UNREs conducted over 20 nuclear tests in Nevada, spreading radioactive dust across deserts, an absurd legacy, as if the bomb's filth wasn't enough in Japan, now sprinkled over American soil. You smirk bitterly. Testing doomsday in our backyard. Guess we're all ground zero now. The classroom hums with restless energy, the air growing stuffy as sunlight streams through smudged windows, warming your face but chilling your thoughts. Sensory immersion deepens, the chalk dust clings to your fingers, dry and powdery like ash. Your throat tightens, tasting faintly of fear from drill sirens. The wooden floor creaks under your pacing, each step a reminder of the unsteady ground beneath this new atomic age. Reflection stirs, empathy for the scientist like Oppenheimer, whose Los Alamos torchlight now casts long shadows of regret. Revisited in newsreels, you show the class his gaunt face, quoting ancient texts about death's dominion. Historical debate rages. Did the bomb's fallout, literal and moral, spark the Cold War's frenzy? Or was Soviet ambition the true catalyst? Post-war records show Truman's advisors downplayed radiation's long-term risks to justify tests, an uncertainty that fuels your unease. Was it ignorance or arrogance driving this race? You pause to lead a drill, barking duck and cover as kids scramble under desks, their giggles masking fear, a sensory struggle mirroring your own heart racing, palms sweaty against the chalkboard's edge. Visuals sear, desks wobble as kids huddle, their shoes scuffing the floor. A propaganda film flickers on a projector, showing smiling families surviving blasts. The sky outside darkens with storm clouds, like a mushroom cloud's echo, motifs mutating from hope's lanterns to warning flares. A multi-twist unfolds. One, the U.S. promoted atomic tourism in Nevada, with tourists watching tests from safe zones absurd, like selling tickets to Apocalypse's sequel. 2. Schools taught survival myths, claiming desks shielded against radiation an ironic lie, as if wood could outwit Fallout's filth. Modern parallel cuts deep like cyber threats today, where antivirus ads promise safety while hacks spread chaos. The Cold War sold false security to kids like yours. You dismiss the class, watching them spill outside, their laughter clashing with the siren's fading wail, empathy deepening for their naive resilience, much like Hibakusha rebuilding amid stigma. You sit at your desk, fingers tracing a textbook's faded map of Japan, its X-marked cities a grim reminder of your survivor's testimony in Tokyo. Debate lingers. Did the bombs prevent a worse war, or plant seeds for a colder one? With 70,000 nukes built by 1980, modern comparison whispers, like AI race fears today, escalating tensions with promises of progress. The Cold War's shadow questions humanity's restraint. You glance at a student's drawing a crude bomb with a smiley face. Absurdly innocent. An irony bites kids doodling doomsday. Guess we've normalized the end of the world. The day winds down, the classroom emptying, leaving you with the faint hum of a radiator and the scent of wax polish. A sensory shift toward calm. You pack your bag, the leather strap rough against your shoulder, reflections settling like dust empathy for the underdogs. From Hiroshima's survivors to these kids, all caught in history's crossfire. Intriguing question invites reflection. If you taught this era, would you stress survival's grit or warn of hubris? Knowing desks can't save souls, visuals linger. A lone student lingers outside, tossing a ball against a wall. The poster peels, revealing faded paint like a scar. Stars emerge above, lanterns of hope flickering against a sky heavy with unseen fallout. You step outside, the evening air crisp, carrying a hint of rain that washes away chalk dust, a sensory relief easing the psychological chill. The schoolyard lies quiet, its swings swaying gently, their chains creaking like a lullaby. Debate persists were tests a necessary deterrent, or reckless bravado poisoning the future. Modern parallel echoes like climate denial today, ignoring science for short-term wins. Cold War tests left legacies of contaminated soil. You walk home, the sidewalk's texture firm underfoot, empathy anchoring you for Yamaguchi, speaking out despite scars, for your students, feeling their collective fear. Night falls, streetlights glowing like lanterns, motifs mutating from despair's filth into tentative redemption. You pass a church, its stained glass glowing with candlelight, a beacon of resilience amid fear's shadow. Historical tidbit shocks Nevada's fallout drifted to nearby towns, raising cancer rates irony in testing safety while harming your own. You pause, reflection deepening. The bombs ended one war but birthed another, colder one, their filth a global burden. Modern comparison, like social media echo chambers amplifying fear, the Cold War fed paranoia to kids like yours, zoom out poetic. The town sleeps under a sky where stars battle clouds, lanterns of hope piercing despair's lingering veil. You reach your porch, the wooden steps creaking softly, empathy wrapping you like a warm blanket, fear fading into peace's gentle pull. Irony tempers duck and cover because nothing says safety like hiding under a desk. A strange image chills you. A child's drawing of a bomb, taped to your door, its smiley face glowing under moonlight like a warped lantern, pulling you toward lessons of resilience next. The night deepens, and you lie in bed, the sheets cool against your skin, sensory details fading into quiet. Reflection invites, what if the Cold War's chill taught us empathy, turning fear into unity, visuals from the day replay, sirens silenced, lanterns lit, filth washed away by rain, empathy for the world's underdogs, hibakusha, students, scientists binds you, a quiet strength. Historical debate concludes the arms race built walls, but diplomacy tore them down. Justice in hindsight, modern parallel leaders' decisions today mirror those fears, but we can choose different paths. You drift. The radiators hum a soothing backdrop, motifs of lanterns multiplying in dreams as stars, guiding through the dark. Fear dissolves, empathy warming you like dawn's first light. Tidbit absurd. Some Americans built backyard bomb shelters stocked with candy and comics, irony in prepping for end times with kid comforts. You smile faintly, the chill easing as sleep claims you, reflection a gentle tide. But dawn breaks too soon, pulling you back to the classroom, the air fresh with morning dew seeping through open windows. You prepare lessons, the blackboard clean, waiting for new equations. Students file in, their faces bright but shadowed by yesterday's drill. Empathy stirring as you see their resilience. You start class with a question. What if we learned from history's mistakes? Turning bombs into bridges. Their answers spark debate. Historical uncertainty alive. The Cold War's tests poisoned lands, but also birthed tech like GPS from space races, an absurd silver lining. Debate if innovation excuses harm. The lesson unfolds. Visuals vivid. Maps of test sites dot the board. Red pins like blood drops. A film strip clicks through images of Nevada craters. Their edges like scarred skin. Students draw their own safe places. Crayons scribbling lanterns of hope amid drawn clouds. Sensory details enrich the chalk scrape softer today. A rhythmic calm, pencils scratch paper with eager vigor. The room warms with sunlight, chasing away night's chill. Empathy deepens for these young minds. Underdogs navigating fears their parents sowed, like hibakusha children playing amid ruins. Lunch break comes, the bell ringing cheerfully, kids rushing out to play, their laughter a balm against the siren's memory. You eat a sandwich at your desk, its bread soft and fresh, a sensory contrast to wartime rations. Reflection deepens, the bomb's legacy fallout fears pushed science forward. But at what cost modern parallel? Like vaccine hesitancy today, rooted in past medical abuses, Cold War paranoia lingers in distrust of authority. Afternoon drags, the class discussing peace treaties, debate heating. Did non-proliferation pacts redeem the atomic sin, or just pause the clock? Historical tidbit. The 1963 Test Ban Treaty ended atmospheric blasts, but underground tests continued an ironic half measure, like banning visible pollution while dumping waste in oceans. You guide the discussion, empathy for students' wide-eyed questions, their innocence a lantern in the gloom. Class ends, the room emptying, leaving you with echoes of young voices. You erase the board, chalk dust floating like tiny clouds, motifs recurring as symbols of fleeting knowledge. Outside, the playground bustles, swings creaking joyfully, a mood shift toward hope. You lock the door, the key's cold metal a final chill, reflection carrying you home. Evening arrives, dinner simple but nourishing, the table's wood warm under your elbows. You read news of Soviet tests, empathy for Russians under their own shadow. Irony strikes. We bombed to stop war, now everyone's building bigger ones, escalation's endless joke. Modern comparison. Like arms races in space today, nations vying for dominance, forgetting earthbound lessons. Bed calls, sheets crisp. The fans hum a soothing white noise. Reflection invites. What if empathy bridged divides, turning Cold War chill into global warmth? Visuals fade, lanterns glow in windows. Filth washed away. Sleep comes, dreams of cranes flying free, motifs carrying peace's promise. But morning returns, the cycle repeating, empathy your anchor in history's tide. You arrive at school, the air buzzing with youthful energy, students chattering about weekend adventures. You smile, their vitality a balm, empathy deepening as you see echoes of hibakusha, children in their play. The lesson begins, chalk in hand, the board filling with timelines of tests and treaties, visuals. A globe spins on your desk, continents marked with blast sites, posters of peace marches adorn walls, lanterns of activism shining bright. Students' eyes widen at stories of fallout victims, their questions probing like gentle probes. Sensory details. The room's warmth from bodies gathered, a comforting hug, the scent of fresh paper from notebooks, clean and promising, your voice steady, carrying weight of history without breaking, debate sparks. Was the arms race a deterrent that kept peace, or a mad dash to mutual destruction? Historical uncertainty, Soviet spies stole bomb secrets, but did that hasten or hinder the race? You encourage discussion, empathy for all sides, American fear, Soviet paranoia, global victims, lunchtime. Kids share snacks, their laughter infectious. A mood shift to joy amid lessons of dread. You eat apple, its crisp bite a sensory delight. Reflection on how simple pleasures endure. Afternoon dives into survivor stories. Yamaguchi's tale captivating. Absurdity in his double survival drawing gasps an ironic hero, turning curse into call for disarmament. Class wraps. Homework assigned. Draw your vision of peace. Visuals, papers rustle. Crayons colour dreams of lanterns over peaceful cities. You tidy the room, the setting sun casting golden hues. Motifs of hope renewing. Homeward. The walk peaceful, birds chirping like forgotten melodies, dinner with family, the table lively with chatter, empathy for loved ones safe from fallout's reach. Night reading brings tidbits, Bikini Atoll test displaced natives, their islands poisoned an absurd paradise lost to atomic might. Debate environmental justice or collateral damage modern parallel, like fracking today, promising energy but ruining lands. The test legacy questions progresses price. Bed beckons. The quilt soft, fan whirring softly. Reflection invites. What if we learned empathy from history's horrors, forging unity from fear? Dreams come, lanterns guiding through clouds, pieces promise blooming, the child's bomb drawing, its smiley face glowing under moonlight like a warped lantern, fades from your porch, leaving you with the weight of Cold War fears and the fragile hope of underdog resilience. You're no longer the school teacher in that Midwest classroom. Now, it's 1960 and you're a visitor in Hiroshima's newly built Peace Memorial Park, standing on ground once scorched by the bomb's fury. The air carries a gentle breeze, laced with the faint sweetness of cherry blossoms and the earthy scent of freshly cut grass. A sensory balm that softens the psychological chill lingering from those duck-and-cover drills. Reflection wraps you like a warm quilt, fear now a distant echo, replaced by empathy for the survivors whose scars whisper tales of endurance. Sarcastic commentary bubbles up, a quiet defense. From ground zero to green lawns, guess even Apocalypse gets a makeover. Your fingers brush the smooth stone of the peace cenotaph, its cool surface etched with names of the fallen, grounding you in this sacred space where despair's filth has mutated into a tentative redemption. Lanterns of peace glowing softly in the dusk. You wander the park's paths, your shoes sinking slightly into the soft earth, each step a sensory reminder of the city's rebirth. Visuals unfold vividly. The A-bomb dome looms across the river, its skeletal frame a silent monument under a pink-streaked sky. Paper cranes in vibrant reds and blues hang in clusters, fluttering like countless lanterns against the evening's hush. A group of schoolchildren light candles by the Children's Peace Monument, their small flames flickering like torchlight reborn as hope. Empathy swells for these underdogs hibakusha, like Yamaguchi, whose dual survival you recall from Tokyo's trials. Now a voice for peace, and for these kids, folding cranes in honor of Sadako Sasaki, whose 1,000-crane quest became a global symbol. A shocking tidbit jars you Sadako, dying of leukemia at 12, folded 644 cranes, believing they'd grant her wish to live an absurd act of defiance against radiation's cruel grip. Irony in how her hope outlived her body. You murmur inwardly. Sarcasm softening the ache crane after crane. Like praying to a paper god, yet her story's still flying. The park hums with quiet reverence, the breeze carrying faint murmurs of prayers and the soft clink of coins tossed into offering boxes. Sensory immersion deepens, the grass's dew dampens your souls. Cool and refreshing, your breath catches the floral sweetness of blossoms, a stark contrast to the ash you tasted as a survivor. The cenotaph stone feels almost alive under your touch, warmed by countless hands seeking solace. Reflection grows, empathy anchoring you to this place where Hiroshima's scars bloom into lessons of peace, much like Depression-era communities rebuilding from ruin with shared grit. Historical debate simmers. Did the Peace Park, opened in 1955, truly honour the 140,000 lost, or serve as a political salve for Allied guilt, a sanitised narrative of redemption? Post-war records show Japan's government pushed the park to signal renewal, but some hibakusha felt it glossed over their ongoing pain, uncertainty in whether symbols heal or hide. Modern parallel cuts sharp, like climate summits today, promising green futures while ignoring past pollutions. The park's promise questions whether gestures outweigh justice's weight. You pause by the eternal flame, its steady glow a lantern motif now fully mutated into a beacon of hope, its warmth kissing your face against the evening's chill. Visuals sear, the flame dances in a stone basin, casting light on names carved deep. A survivor, now elderly, kneels nearby, her wrinkled hands folding a crane with practiced grace. The river reflects candlelight, its ripples spreading like peace's gentle tide. Empathy deepens for her, for Yamaguchi, for all who turn despair into advocacy, their resilience a torch passed forward. A multi-twist unfolds. 1. The park's creation sparked protests. Some hibakusha demanded reparations over monuments, an absurd clash of grief and politics. 2. Global visitors flocked here, turning tragedy into pilgrimage irony in how Ground Zero became a tourist draw, like Nevada's test sites once lured atomic gawkers. You smile wryly. From rubble to reverence, history's got a knack for rebranding pain. You join a group lighting lanterns, their paper shells soft under your fingers, a sensory shift toward calm as you set one afloat on the river. The act feels sacred. The water's cool, ripples brushing your knuckles, easing the psychological chill into reflective peace. Debate lingers. Did rebuilding Hiroshima as a peace symbol redeem the bomb's sin, or merely shift focus from suffering to spectacle? Modern comparison echoes like nuclear disarmament talks today, vowing safety but stalling on action. The park's promise teeters between hope and hype. You watch the lantern drift, its glow a fragile defiance against the dark, empathy binding you to the crowd. Japanese, Americans, strangers united in memory. Intriguing question invites reflection. If you stood here, would you see the park as healing or hollow, a monument to peace, or a mask for guilt? Night deepens, the park's lanterns multiplying like stars, their light scattering the filth of despair into redemption's glow. You wander to the Children's Peace Monument, Sadako's statue gleaming under moonlight, surrounded by cranes in every colour, their paper crisp yet delicate, a sensory reminder of hope's fragility. Visuals linger. A breeze stirs the cranes, their rustle like whispered prayers. A child's candle flickers, casting shadows that dance like spirits. The dome stands sentinel across the water, its ruins a silent testament to endurance. Reflection settles. Empathy for Sadako's futile folding, for Yamaguchi's tireless voice, for a city reborn from ash. Historical tidbit shocks. The use censored early hibakusha accounts to control anti-nuclear sentiment, an absurd gatekeeping, like silencing whistleblowers today to shield tech giants. You touch a crane, its texture soft as hope. Irony tempering the moment paper against bombs talk about underdog odds. The crowd thins, leaving you by the river, its surface a mirror of lanterns floating toward eternity. Motifs fully transformed into symbols of peace's triumph. You sit on a bench, its wood worn smooth by pilgrims, the air now cool and clean, carrying a faint jasmine scent from nearby gardens, a sensory shift to calm, easing you towards sleep. Debate concludes. The park gave voice to survivors, but was it enough to erase the bomb's shadow? Modern parallel like anti-nuke protest today, pushing for disarmament amid AI arms races. The park's legacy demands action over symbols. Your breath slows, empathy wrapping you like a lullaby, reflection deepening into peace's gentle pull. Zoom out poetic Hiroshima sleeps under a sky where lanterns outshine stars, despair's shroud torn by hope's relentless light. You lie back on the grass, its blades tickling your neck, the river's murmur a soothing backdrop. Irony softens from flash to flowers. History's rewrite is one hell of a glow-up. A strange image chills you. A single crane catches in a tree, its paper glowing like a star against the night, whispering lessons of resilience, pulling you toward the final reflection next. The crane's silhouette against the moon fades, its paper wings a fleeting lantern of peace dissolving into Tokyo's night, its edges unraveling like the hope you cling to amidst despair's pervasive filth. You're no longer in the courtroom. Now, it's 1950 and you're a schoolteacher in a small American town, standing in a classroom in the Midwest, the air thick with the chalky dust of lessons and the faint scent of polished desks. The psychological chill of Hiroshima's aftermath lingers, fear now a distant hum, mutated into a reflective unease as you face a new generation under the shadow of the Cold War. Sarcastic commentary bubbles up, a shield against the creeping dread teaching kids to duck and cover because desks stop nukes. Right. Your fingers grip a worn textbook, its pages rough and yellowed, a sensory struggle grounding you as the world braces for a new arms race. Despair's filth, now a global anxiety coating the air like invisible fallout. You write equations on the blackboard, the chalk's gritty scrape echoing in the quiet room, but your eyes keep drifting to the window, where a civil defense poster flaps in the breeze, urging prepare in bold red letters. Visuals crowd your senses. The poster's cartoonish bomb explodes in garish colours, a twisted lantern motif warning of destruction's new face. Students fidget at desks, their pencils tapping nervously. Outside, a siren wails in a drill, its wail piercing like a Hiroshima survivor's cry. Empathy swells for these kids' underdogs in a world where adults' choices loom like mushroom clouds, their innocent, echoing Depression-era children clutching ration books. A shocking tidbit jolts you. By 1950, the U.S. conducted over 20 nuclear tests in Nevada, spreading radioactive dust across deserts, an absurd legacy, as if the bomb's filth wasn't enough in Japan, now sprinkled over American soil. You smirk bitterly. Testing doomsday in our backyard, guess we're all ground zero now. The classroom hums with restless energy, the air growing stuffy as sunlight streams through smudged windows, warming your face but chilling your thoughts. Sensory immersion deepens. The chalk dust clings to your fingers, dry and powdery like ash. Your throat tightens, tasting faintly of fear from drill sirens. The wooden floor creaks under your pacing, each step a reminder of the unsteady ground beneath this new atomic age. Reflection stirs, empathy for the scientists like Oppenheimer, whose Los Alamos torchlight now casts long shadows of regret. Revisited in newsreels, you show the class his gaunt face, quoting ancient texts about death's dominion. Historical debate rages. Did the bomb's fallout, literal and moral, spark the Cold War's frenzy? Or was Soviet ambition the true catalyst? Post-war records show Truman's advisors downplayed radiation's long-term risks to justify tests, an uncertainty that fuels your unease. Was it ignorance or arrogance driving this race? You pause to lead a drill, barking duck and cover as kids scramble under desks, their giggles masking fear, a sensory struggle, mirroring your own heart racing, palms sweaty against the chalkboard's edge. Visuals sear, desks wobble as kids huddle, their shoes scuffing the floor. A propaganda film flickers on a projector, showing smiling families surviving blasts. The sky outside darkens with storm clouds, like a mushroom cloud's echo, motifs mutating from hope's lanterns to warning flares. A multi-twist unfolds. The U promoted atomic tourism in Nevada, with tourists watching test from safe zones absurd, like selling tickets to Apocalypse's sequel. 2. Schools taught survival myths, claiming desks shielded against radiation, an ironic lie, as if wood could outwit fallout's filth. Modern parallel cuts deep like cyber threats today, where antivirus ads promise safety while hacks spread chaos. The Cold War sold false security to kids like yours. You dismiss the class, watching them spill outside, their laughter clashing with the siren's fading wail, empathy deepening for their naive resilience, much like Hibakusha rebuilding amid stigma. You sit at your desk, fingers tracing a textbook's faded map of Japan. Its X-marked cities a grim reminder of your survivor's testimony in Tokyo. Debate lingers. Did the bombs prevent a worse war, or plant seeds for a colder one? With 70,000 nukes built by 1980, modern comparison whispers, like AI race fears today, escalating tensions with promises of progress. The Cold War's shadow questions humanity's restraint. You glance at a student's drawing a crude bomb with a smiley face. Absurdly innocent, and irony bites kids doodling doomsday guess we've normalized the end of the world. The day winds down, the classroom emptying, leaving you with the faint hum of a radiator and the scent of wax polish, a sensory shift toward calm. You pack your bag, the leather strap rough against your shoulder, reflections settling like dust empathy for the underdogs. From Hiroshima's survivors to these kids, all caught in history's crossfire. Intriguing question invites reflection. If you taught this era, would you stress survival's grit or warn of hubris? Knowing desks can't save souls, visuals linger. A lone student lingers outside, tossing a ball against a wall. The poster peels, revealing faded paint like a scar. Stars emerge above, lanterns of hope flickering against a sky heavy with unseen fallout. You step outside, the evening air crisp, carrying a hint of rain that washes away chalk dust. A sensory relief easing the psychological chill. The schoolyard lies quiet, its swings swaying gently, their chains creaking like a lullaby. Debate persists were tests a necessary deterrent, or reckless bravado poisoning the future. Modern parallel echoes like climate denial today, ignoring science for short-term wins. Cold War tests left legacies of contaminated soil. You walk home, the sidewalk's texture firm underfoot, empathy anchoring you for Yamaguchi, speaking out despite scars, for your students, feeling their collective fear. Night falls, streetlights glowing like lanterns, motifs mutating from despair's filth into tentative redemption. You pass a church, its stained glass glowing with candlelight, a beacon of resilience amid fear's shadow. Historical tidbit shocks Nevada's fallout drifted to nearby towns, raising cancer rates, irony, and testing safety while harming your own. You pause, reflection deepening. The bombs ended one war but birthed another, colder one, their filth a global burden. Modern comparison, like social media echo chambers amplifying fear, the Cold War fed paranoia to kids like yours. Zoom out poetic. The town sleeps under a sky where stars battle clouds, lanterns of hope piercing despair's lingering veil. You reach your porch, the wooden steps creaking softly, empathy wrapping you like a warm blanket, fear fading into pieces gentle pull. Irony tempers duck and cover because nothing says safety like hiding under a desk. A strange image chills you, a child's drawing of a bomb taped to your door, its smiley face glowing under moonlight like a warped lantern, pulling you toward lessons of resilience next. The night deepens, and you lie in bed, the sheets cool against your skin, sensory details fading into quiet. Reflection invites. What if the Cold War's chill taught us empathy, turning fear into unity? Visuals from the day replay, sirens silenced, lanterns lit, filth washed away by rain. Empathy for the world's underdogs, hibakusha, students. Scientist binds you, a quiet strength. Historical debate concludes. The arms race built walls, but diplomacy tore them down. Justice in hindsight. Modern parallel leaders' decisions today mirror those fears, but we can choose different paths. You drift. The radiators hum a soothing backdrop. Motifs of lanterns multiplying in dreams as stars, guiding through the dark. Fear dissolves. Empathy warming you like dawn's first light. Tidbit absurd. Some Americans built backyard bomb shelters stocked with candy and comics irony and prepping for end times with kid comforts. You smile faintly, the chill easing as sleep claims you, reflection a gentle tide. But dawn breaks too soon, pulling you back to the classroom, the air fresh with morning dew seeping through open windows. You prepare lessons, the blackboard clean, waiting for new equations. Students file in, their faces bright but shadowed by yesterday's drill, empathy stirring as you see their resilience. You start class with a question. What if we learned from history's mistakes? Turning bombs into bridges, their answers spark debate, historical uncertainty alive. The Cold War's tests poisoned lands, but also birthed tech like GPS from space races and absurd silver lining. Debate if innovation excuses harm. The lesson unfolds, visuals vivid. Maps of test sites dot the board, red pins like blood drops. A film strip clicks through images of Nevada craters, their edges like scarred skin. Students draw their own safe places, crayons scribbling lanterns of hope amid drawn clouds. Sensory details enrich the chalk scrape softer today, a rhythmic calm. Pencils scratch paper with eager vigor. The room warms with sunlight, chasing away night's chill. Empathy deepens for these young minds. Underdogs navigating fears their parents sowed, like Hibakusha children playing amid ruins. Lunch break comes, the bell ringing cheerfully, kids rushing out to play, their laughter a balm against the siren's memory. You eat a sandwich at your desk, its bread soft and fresh, a sensory contrast to wartime rations. Reflection deepens, the bomb's legacy fallout fears pushed science forward, but at what cost modern parallel? Like vaccine hesitancy today, rooted in past medical abuses, Cold War paranoia lingers in distrust of authority. Afternoon drags, the class discussing peace treaties, debate heating. Did non-proliferation pacts redeem the atomic sin, or just pause the clock? Historical tidbit. The 1963 Test Ban Treaty ended atmospheric blasts, but underground tests continued an ironic half-measure, like banning visible pollution while dumping waste in oceans. You guide the discussion, empathy for students' wide-eyed questions, their innocence a lantern in the gloom. Class ends, the room emptying, leaving you with echoes of young voices. You erase the board, chalk dust floating like tiny clouds, motifs recurring as symbols of fleeting knowledge. Outside, the playground bustles, swings creaking joyfully, a mood shift toward hope. You lock the door, the key's cold metal a final chill, reflection carrying you home. Evening arrives, dinner simple but nourishing. The table's wood warm under your elbows. You read news of Soviet tests, empathy for Russians under their own shadow. Irony strikes. We bombed to stop war. Now everyone's building bigger ones. Escalation's endless joke. Modern comparison. Like arms races in space today. Nations vying for dominance. Forgetting earthbound lessons. Bed calls. Sheets crisp. The fans hum. A soothing white noise. Reflection invites. What if empathy bridged divides? Turning Cold War chill into global warmth. Visuals fade. Lanterns glow in windows. Filth washed away. Sleep comes. Dreams of cranes flying free. Motifs carrying peace's promise. But morning returns. The cycle repeating. Empathy your anchor in history's tide. You arrive at school, the air buzzing with youthful energy. Students chattering about weekend adventures. You smile. Their vitality a balm. Empathy deepening as you see echoes of Hibakusha. Children in their play. The lesson begins. Chalk in hand, the board filling with timelines of tests and treaties. Visuals. A globe spins on your desk. Continents marked with blast sites. Posters of peace marches adorn walls. Lanterns of activism shining bright. Students' eyes widen at stories of fallout victims. Their questions probing like gentle probes. Sensory details, the room's warmth from bodies gathered. A comforting hug. The scent of fresh paper from notebooks. Clean and promising. Your voice steady, carrying weight of history without breaking. Debate sparks. Was the arms race a deterrent that kept peace, or a mad dash to mutual destruction? Historical uncertainty. Soviet spies stole bomb secrets, but did that hasten or hinder the race? You encourage discussion, empathy for all sides. American fear, Soviet paranoia, global victims. The morning passes, kids engaged, their hands raising with eager questions. You pause for a break, the window open to let in fresh air, carrying bird songs that lift the mood. Visuals? Sunlight dances on desks, casting playful shadows. A student's notebook filled with doodles of peace symbols, lanterns in crayon, empathy for their curiosity, a spark of hope in the gloom. Lunchtime, the cafeteria alive with chatter, kids sharing lunches, their laughter infectious. You supervise. empathy for their carefree moments, contrasting the weight of lessons taught. Reflection. History's horrors teach us to cherish these joys. Afternoon brings group projects, students collaborating on timelines, their voices blending in excited debate. Visuals, papers spread across desks, markers capping and uncapping, a model mushroom cloud made from cotton, absurd but educational. Sensory. The smell of glue and paper, creative and fresh, laughter ringing like bells. Irony, turning bombs into school projects' progress or desensitization. Class wraps. Homework handed out. The bell ringing release. You tidy, the room quieting. Reflection on a day well spent. Homeward. The walk. Peaceful. Birds chirping like forgotten melodies. Dinner with loved ones. The table lively. Empathy for family bonds forged in uncertain times. Night reading brings tidbits. Bikini Atoll tests displaced natives. Their islands poisoned, an irony paradise lost to atomic might. Debate. Environmental justice or collateral damage, modern parallel. Like fracking today, promising energy but ruining lands. The test legacy questions progresses price. Bed beckons. The quilt soft. Fan whirring softly. Reflection invites. What if we learned for AI nuke disarmament? Forging unity from fear. Dreams come. Lanterns guiding through clouds. Peace's promise blooming.